You know the feeling, right? Circling a parking lot and circling, burning gas and getting more frustrated by the second. Well, what if I told you a tiny, tough little puck glued to the ground could make all of that just disappear? Let's dive in.
Seriously, think about it. We have these incredible supercomputers in our pockets, but the simple act of finding an empty parking space feels like we're stuck in the Stone Age. The why is a bit complicated, but the solution? Oh, it's just beautiful in its simplicity.
So, here's what we're going to do. First, we'll get into the parking problem itself. Then, we'll meet the sensor solution. We'll explore the clever trick that makes it all work, check out some mind-blowing test results, and finally, see how this all leads to way smarter and, honestly, less stressful cities for all of us.
Okay, so before we get to the cool new stuff, we've got to understand why the old tech just wasn't working. It's one of those classic stories, good intentions, but a whole lot of headaches.
I mean, the older options were pretty bad. You had loop coils, which meant literally digging up the roads, a huge hassle. Then there were ultrasonic sensors, but they needed these bulky arms and all this wiring. And cameras? You know how that goes. Rain, fog, snow, they'd get confused, and you had to keep messing with them. Cities needed something better, something tough, easy to install, and crazy accurate.
And that need for something better, well, it brings us to the hero of our story. It's not flashy, but trust me, it is a total game changer. And here it is. This little puck is the wireless geomagnetic sensor. And when I say tough, I mean it's built to get run over by a 5-ton truck and just keep on working. It's super thin, totally wireless, and the battery, it can last up to 10 years. No digging, no wires, just stick it to the ground and you're good to go. So how in the world does this thing work? Okay, imagine the Earth's magnetic field is like a giant, invisible, perfectly smooth sheet stretched over the parking lot. This little sensor is just sitting there watching that sheet. Now, when a massive chunk of metal, like your car, rolls over it, it makes a dent in that invisible fabric. The sensor's job is to spot that specific dent. And what's so cool is that everything it needs is packed inside. You've got the super sensitive part that actually feels the magnetic change, a little CPU to think about what it's seeing, a wireless bit to shout, "Hey, someone's parked here," and that long life battery to power it all. It's basically a tiny, super specialized computer for just one parking spot. But it's never that easy. Just detecting any magnetic change wasn't good enough. The first idea they had seemed super obvious, but the real world, well, it always has a way of throwing a wrench in things. The first plan was simple, right? Just set a line, a threshold. If the magnetic signal jumps over that line, bingo, there's a car. When it drops it back down, the car's gone. Easy. In theory, this should have worked perfectly. Yeah, but it didn't work. Not even close. And this is where the real challenge shows up. See, a normal sedan might give you a nice clean signal, but then a big SUV rolls in, sitting higher off the ground, and its signal is weaker, sometimes not even hitting the threshold. And what's worse, a huge truck parking in the spot next door could set it off by mistake. The whole system was just too messy, too unreliable. This is my favorite part. This is the aha moment. The engineers realized they were looking at it all wrong. Instead of trying to see the whole car, they decided to look for its magnetic heart. And that big idea was this. Every single vehicle has an engine, or at least a motor, and that part is a big, dense block of metal. It has a way stronger, way more predictable magnetic signature than any other part of the car. So the new plan? Teach the sensor to ignore everything else and just look for the engine. Okay, check this out. This is so clever. For a car pulling in head first, here's what the sensor looks for. As you drive in, the engine passes over the sensor. Boom, that's the first big spike in the signal. Then you park, and the signal chills out a bit. But when you leave, the engine passes over it again. Boom, a second big spike. The sensor isn't just looking for any signal. It's looking for this specific two-spike pattern. It's absolutely brilliant. But you're probably thinking, what if I back into the spot? Well, they thought of that too. If you back in, your engine ends up sitting right on top of the sensor. So instead of two spikes, you get one long, sustained high signal. The sensor is smart enough to recognize that pattern too. It's this pattern recognition that's the secret sauce. It filters out all the random noise and false alarm. So the theory was beautiful. It was elegant, but the big question remained. Would this fancy engine spotting trick actually work in the real world, with all the different cars out there? It was time to find out. The result? 100%. Perfect. I'm not kidding. They ran over 600 tests with every kind of car you can think of, and it didn't fail, not once.
And the data is right here to back it up. Look at this. It didn't matter if they pulled in forward, backward, or just drove straight through the spot without stopping. The detection rate was flawless every single time. They threw everything at it. Tiny mini cars, big SUVs, trucks, even electric cars. 617 tests, 617 perfect detections. At this point, it wasn't just a cool idea. It was a proven, rock-solid technology.
Okay, so we've got this tiny puck that's ridiculously accurate. And that's awesome engineering for sure. But the real story, the big picture, is what this little thing makes possible. This is where a tiny sensor starts to make our cities way, way better. This is where it gets good for you and me. All the data from all these little sensors can feed right into an app on your phone. So instead of circling and hunting, you're just guided. Your phone can literally tell you, hey, turn left here, the third spot on your right is open. Imagine that. All that parking frustration just gone.
And then you zoom out and think about the whole city. Did you know that a huge chunk of traffic in big cities is just people like us endlessly looking for parking? If you get rid of that, you cut down on traffic jams, you lower pollution from all those cars crawling around, you even make the streets safer. And the city gets all this incredible data to help them plan for the future. It's a massive win-win-win.
And believe it or not, this story gets even bigger. The folks who design this tech point out that it's not just for us humans. Think about self-driving cars. For them to work, they need to know exactly what's going on around them. These sensors can tell an autonomous car with 100% certainty that spot is taken. Don't go there. It's a really critical piece of the puzzle for a fully autonomous future.
So when you boil it all down, a huge, everyday frustration was basically solved by a simple physical principle and a really, really smart algorithm. It just goes to show you, sometimes the best solutions aren't the most complicated ones. It's about looking at a problem from a whole new angle. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge headaches in our lives are just one aha moment away from being solved?